Kim from Simply Plant Based, and today we're going to be talking all about kale. If you don't think you like kale, join the club, because I didn't used to like kale either when I first started eating plant-based. I thought it was kind of gross. But I've learned a few things about how to buy it and store it and wash it, and what kind of recipes work really great for introducing yourself to a little bit of kale. It's super healthy. If you follow Dr. Furman, then you know it gets 1,000 out of 1,000 score on his Andy scale of nutrition. So it's very, very, very good for you. So if you can work some kale into your diet, it's a great thing. So we're going to talk all about how to make it taste awesome. Okay, so one of the most important things you need to know about getting great tasting kale is you need to buy it fresh in the bunches, not in the bag. So the bagged kale is not as fresh. It's spent more time between the farm to the factory where they bag it to the store than this bunch of kale did going from the farm directly to the store. So it's going to be more nutritious, it's going to retain more of the nutrients, it's going to taste better, it's less expensive than the bagged kale. The bagged kale is usually twice as much, and probably the most important factor to me is that the fresh kale, we're going to remove the leaves from the tough, bitter ribs, and you'll notice in the bagged kale, they don't do that. So they just chop up the entire piece, so half that bag and the weight of that bag are these tough pieces that don't taste very good. So we're going to take care of that right now. Really easy to wash and store kale. I'm just going to take these leaves, and I've got a colander in the sink, and we're just going to run it, each leaf under running water. Set that down there in the colander, and I'm just going to make sure that got any dirt or look for anything else that might not look so good on the leaves. Get them good and clean. And when you're buying kale, make sure you look for, it should have a firm texture to it. So the leaves should not be limp or dull looking. They should be nice and vibrant and firm. And whether or not you buy organic or conventional, that's up to you. Honestly, a lot of times I will buy conventional, but today it happened to be organic, happened to be on sale. It was the same price as conventional, and they looked fresh, and so I bought organic. So it just really depends on you and your budget. I think the more important part is that we are just eating more of the fruits and vegetables and not be deterred or confused about whether or not to buy conventional or organic. Not stress about it. You do you. All right. So we've got those nice and rinsed off. Now the next thing is a really great trick to get the leaves off of the tough, bitter ribs. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold the end of the kale with our fingers, and we're going to lightly pinch with our forefinger and thumb, and I'm just going to pull the leaf right off of the rib. Sometimes it'll break a little early, and you can just tear a little bit extra off. So it's just nice and easy. Sometimes it comes off nice in one full movement. And we're just going to discard those. So really quick and easy, don't even have to get out a knife. No chopping required. See, that was super fast. So it's kind of fun when it comes off really clean. All right, so we have our kale leaves, and we're just going to throw those ribs away. And we're just going to pat it down and just kind of remove a little bit of the moisture so that it will store just a little longer. So just kind of pat it down with a paper towel or a clean dishcloth. All right, that's good. And then I just store our kale in a gallon storage bag. and it usually can fit about one bunch in a bag, just depending on how big the bunch is. All right, and now I'm going to close it about halfway, squeeze out some of the air, and voila, we have our freshly cleaned kale, and it's ready to go in the fridge. This will last probably about a week or so. We usually use it up faster than that. My husband has a fruit and greens smoothie in the morning, almost every morning, and we use kale as the greens in that. And I'll put the recipe down below for that. It's really good too. That's a great way to start off with a little greens without having to taste a lot of it, because it has a lot of fruit in it. Tastes really great. My kids like it. Okay, so now we're gonna make my husband's, one of his absolute favorite recipes is Italian cashew creamed kale. And it's really easy to make, and we're just gonna start by steaming the kale. And I just happen to use a Corningware dish. You can use any dish that has a cover or Tupperware type container. And I'm gonna tear the kale pieces a little smaller so that they're more kind of bite-sized, and you could do this with a knife as well. I just like to kind of use my hands. And in this process, you can also just kind of double check, make sure you don't have any kind of pieces of ribs, because we talked about how that doesn't taste good. They're tough and they're bitter. And I'm just gonna tear these up kind of small. And this kale is still kind of a little bit damp from being washed. If yours is dry, then when you microwave it, you're gonna wanna put maybe like a tablespoon of water, just so that there's some moisture in there to steam the kale, and so it doesn't burn. But this is still pretty kind of wet, so there should be enough moisture in this that I don't need to add any more. All right, so we got that in there. That's about one bunch in a large dish, and I'm gonna cover it. And then we're gonna microwave this on high for about 3 minutes. Now we've steamed our kale, and as you can see, it is lightly steamed. And now we're gonna make the cream sauce. So this is really easy to make, and you can get this recipe down below, and you can print this off. And I'm actually making a double batch compared to the recipe. I find that it actually blends a little bit easier and creamier when I do a double batch. So just so you know. So it's gonna look like a little bit more than what if you just do a single batch, which the recipe calls for. So we're gonna start off with some unsalted raw cashews. And then we're gonna add some unsweetened almond milk. And then we're gonna add some garlic powder. And some Italian seasoning. And you can just get that Italian seasoning in the spice aisle. It's called Italian seasoning. And then we're gonna put just a little bit of salt. And you can, of course, omit that salt if you are on a strict SOS diet. And then we're gonna just put the top on and blend until smooth and creamy. Okay, so let's test it. Looks good. Oh yeah, that's awesome. So now we're gonna pour this over our kale. I'm just putting half on here because, again, I did a double batch of the sauce. Because I'm going to actually do another thing of steamed kale, because my husband loves this. And we just mix this until all the kale is really coated. I think I put a little bit more sauce on here. looks great. And it is delicious. Oh, it's so good. So, if you don't think you like kale, you gotta try the Italian cashew cream kale. It is amazing. I hope you enjoyed this video all about kale and the delicious Italian cashew cream kale recipe. You can click the link down below the video to get the recipe from my website, Simply Plant Based. And as always, make sure you like the video and subscribe. I'll see you next time.